Java supports multi-threaded programming, which allows you to write programs that do many things simultaneously. So if you look around yourself, multiple things are working simultaneously. You can just look at the watch or in your hand or the on your walls. The hour hand, minute hand, and second hand simultaneously they are rotating in different angles, but it's a multi-threading process. It is not like first hour hand will move, then only minute hand will move, then only second hand will move. So all these things happen simultaneously. It's a real world application, and such applications you can build with the help of Java. Java supports multiple programs, multiple processes execute simultaneously. It is also called architecture neutral and portable. We talked about what is meaning of architecture neutral. It doesn't depend upon any particular architecture, hardware, operating system, etc. So before Java, that is C, C++, or any other languages like Fortran, Pascal, there was a central issue was code longevity and portability. How to transfer a program from one machine to other machine, and without any modifications program should produce the same output. That was the main issue. Operating system upgrades. Now Windows 11 is coming. Processor upgrades. Currently you are using i7, and it changes core system resources all combined to make a program malfunction. So if your program was specifically designed for say Windows 10 machines or with i3, it may not work with i7 or Windows 11 or new updates of operating system. The Java virtual machine, Java supports Java virtual machine. We'll see what is Java virtual machine in detail in next slides. It is mainly the attempt to alter the situation, to change the situation, to change the dependency of architecture. Their goal was write once, run anywhere, anytime, forever. So what is the goal of Java virtual machine? Write once means you can type your program once, make it error free, make it executable. Now your program is ready. That is means write once. Once you have written a code, that code can run anywhere on any type of machine in the world, anytime. It is not necessary it should work only in the morning time or evening time, anytime and forever. So no need of doing any modifications depending upon hardware or software changes. Your program should run anytime, anywhere, forever once it is ready to run. That is called architecture neutral and portable. We are looking at the main features of Java. Java is simple language. Java is a robust language. Java is object-oriented language. Java is multi-threaded language. And we have seen Java is architecture neutral and portable language. Next feature is interpreted and high performance. So in previous unit, we have seen what is the difference between interpreter and compiler. To convert, we have seen generation of languages, machine level language, high level language, assembly level language. To convert high level language, computer understands only the language of zeros and ones. To translate high level language to low level language, we need a translator. C, C++ uses compiler. We have seen that compiler converts the complete input or source program into intermediate code, or it is also called machine code. It is called object code, right? And that object code gets translated to zeros and ones. So in case of Java, Java is not only compiled but also interpreted language. Java uses compiler and interpreter both. So it enables the creation of cross-platform programs which can work on multiple platforms, different platforms. So it first Java program will get compiled into intermediate representation, which is called Java bytecode, or it is a class file. So Java file, we compile it and we get Java, whatever your file name say, hello.java. When you compile it, it will be converted into hello.class file. So that is intermediate representation of your source program. And this code, which code? Intermediate representation, which is called Java bytecode or .class file, will be executed on any system which has Java virtual machine. So if I have written a Java program on my laptop, I have Java compiler, I compiled it, I have bytecode ready with me, that is .class file. So that .class file can execute on any other machine, not compulsorily with the same specifications of my laptop. But only condition is that that machine should have compatible Java virtual machine, which will understand that bytecode and executes it. So Java bytecode was carefully designed so that it would be easy to translate directly to native machine code for very high performance using just-in-time compiler. It is called just-in-time compiler. That makes Java interpreted and high performance language. So the conversion between Java program to bytecode, that is .class file, and then .class file to output, it should be with a very high performance compiler, which is called just-in-time compiler. Java is called distributed language. This is again a new word. You might have heard this: distributed operating system, distributed environment, etc. You might have heard of the word like clouds, cloud computing. So this is nothing but related to distributed work. Distributed means I am working on a large project and my laptop is not sufficient to write that much code. So what I'll do is I can pair this laptop with your laptop, and some of the program is running on my machine, some of the program is running on your machine. So similar, there are many machines. It looks like they are working on a same program. It works like you're working on a same machine, but the machines are distributed across the world. It's not necessary they are on a same geographical area. So Java is designed for distributed environment of the internet because it handles TCP/IP protocol. So there are different types of protocols used for networking, used for pairing devices with each other. TCP/IP is one of the popular protocol. Java also supports remote method invocation, which is called RMI. This feature enables program to invoke methods across the network. So by sitting on one machine, you can execute program on another machine. So that is possible with remote machine invocation, RMI, because Java supports TCP/IP protocol as well as RMI. It makes Java a distributed language. Next important feature is dynamic. Java is pure dynamic language. Note that C language is static as well as dynamic. Pascal is pure static language, but Java is pure dynamic. Dynamic means memory allocated to whatever the variables, the arrays, the program in Java is dynamic. Dynamic means at runtime. So Java programs carry with them substantial amount of runtime type information that is used to verify resolve access to the object at runtime. Runtime means when program executes. So there are various times involved. When you write a program, that is one time program, you type your code, then you compile your code, that is compilation time. So when program gets translated into executable code, and at runtime when program executes, at that time when the variables get allocated with the memory or functions get allocated with the memory, that is called runtime or dynamic. This makes possible to dynamically link code in a safe and expedient manner. So runtime memory allocation make program more flexible depending upon the hardware, depending upon the operating system, depending upon the available memory gets allocated to your code. But it is crucial to robustness of the Java program. So there is a trade-off between dynamic property and robustness. If language trained to more dynamic, it will prone to more errors. That's why Java is very careful about type definitions. It's strongly typed language, and it handles both these characteristics or features very efficiently. Java is pure dynamic language as well as it's a robust language, in which small fragments of bytecode may be dynamically updated on runtime. So whatever you want to do, you can perform or change at the runtime. And lastly, Java is secure language. So in Java, we didn't have the concept of pointers. So there is no memory leakage. There is nothing like you're pointing to some garbage memory location, or you're getting some wrong input or wrong data. without user interpretation. So Java does not use memory pointers explicitly. All programs are executed under a sandbox. Sandbox means very secure environment. It is designed such that, as we have seen, Java is object oriented features like encapsulation. So data and functions working on that data are encapsulated in one class. So that is called sandbox. It uses public key encryption system to allow the Java application to transmit over internet. And when we transfer, mainly Java was designed as an internet language. So when Java program is written for a browser or internet application, so it is in encrypted method, and it's a public key encryption was used to transfer a Java application over the network. So what is meaning of security? A person without authentication, without the rights, cannot change your code, cannot modify your program, or cannot hack your software. Any queries about these features? You understood what is meaning of simple, secured, platform independent, robust, portable, architecture neutral. So these three words, architecture neutral, portable, and platform independent, meaning is same. Dynamic, interpreted, high performance. Due to interpretation, Java becomes high performance language, multi-threaded and distributed. So we have covered all these features, right? Next is very important keywords, JDK, JRE, and JVM. What is JDK, JRE, and JVM? Long form of JDK is Java Development Kit, JRE is Java Runtime Environment, and JVM is Java Virtual Machine. To write a program, what you need to write any program, for example, to write a C program, what you need? You need an editor where you can type your program, where you can check for the errors, which allows you to modify the code. So that is called editor. You can type it, you can change the code, you can copy paste, cut paste, all that editing facility should be there. So you should have an editor. Then you should have a compiler which can compile that program and which can show you the errors if any. So there should be a debugger which can check whether this program is syntactically correct. It should highlight if there are any errors, and if program is error free, it should say that your compilation is successful, program is error free. Now you can run your code, and when you run your code, it should produce the output. So all this together is called environment for working on some program. So in case of Java, Java Development Kit is a software development environment which is used to develop Java applications and applets. So applets are special type of applications which are used for internet, and normal Java application, whatever the programs that we are going to perform in APL2 lab will be Java applications. We didn't have applets in our syllabus, but applets are special type of programs which are written for internet application. So to develop any program, the things or the tools that are required are clubbed in an environment which is called JDK. So what it includes? It includes Java runtime environment. So JRE is a part of JDK. It includes interpreter or loader. Java is name of Java interpreter. Java C is name of Java compiler. So it has JRE, then Java, which is interpreter or loader, and Java C, which is a compiler. Also, it has archiver, means you should able, if your program is too large and you need to convert it into a compressed file, you can convert it with a jar file. So that archiver should be there. Then document generator, all the comments or the notations that you want any other person working with your program should know, that is saved in java.doc file. So that is automatically generated with the help of your comments. So Java doc file and other tools needed for Java development. So all these things together is called JDK, Java Development Kit. So like this, the outer box is JDK. Let me compress it first. Huh. So this outer box is JDK. JDK contains Java runtime environment. Java runtime environment then contains JVM, Java Virtual Machine, then a set of libraries with different jar files, then other files, and development tools, which is Java compiler, Java interpreter, Java doc, etc. So JDK had JRE, JRE had JVM. It is JRE, JRE Java Runtime Environment. To run Java program, the environment we require, it is nothing but Java Runtime Environment. It is a set of software tools for development of Java application. So it combines JVM and platform core classes and supporting libraries. So if you see here, so JVM, then libraries and other files and tools together is called JRE. So JRE is implementation of JVM which actually executes Java programs. So it includes JVM, core libraries and other additional components to run application and applets written in Java. Java runtime environment is a must installed on your machine in order to execute pre-compiled Java program. If you install JDK, it will automatically install JRE and JVM. So what you have to search is for example, if you want to install Eclipse or NetBeans, it automatically asks you to load or install the updated or current version of JDK. Next is Java Virtual Machine. This is very important keyword. What is Java Virtual Machine? Just go through this text once. What is meaning of virtual? Why it is called Java Virtual Machine? Virtual means, yes, imaginary, right? Yes, it is imaginary or it's not real. It's illusion something. So Java Virtual Machine is a program that runs pre-compiled Java program. Pre-compiled means already compiled Java program. So we have seen that the program that we write is Java program .java file like .c. Let me explain you. I have a Java file which is called hello.java, like any C program you have written right now. So we can compile Java hello.java using Java compiler. Java compiler is Java C. And the output of this after compilation you get is hello.class file, which is intermediate representation. So this class file is called .class file is called pre-compiled Java file. So after compiling Java program, you'll get hello.class file. And then you can interpret this with the help of Java interpreter. Java is the name of interpreter. And then you provide some input and you'll get the output. Java interpreter will step by step executes this. Java is the name of interpreter and Java C is name of a compiler. And this is intermediate file, Java class file. And Java interpreter interprets step by step all the commands and produce the output. So this part is done by JVM, Java Virtual Machine. So here you can write Java program on any machine. You should have a compiler. which compiles that program and produce .class file. And then this class file is portable. You can carry this file and run it on any machine which has installed with Java Virtual Machine JVM, which will convert this class file into the output. So Java Virtual Machine is a program that runs pre-compiled Java program, that is .class file, which means JVM execute .class files, that is, note that class file is called bytecode, and produces the output. The JVM written for each platform supported by Java, including Java runtime environment. So this is very important. When we say that Java is platform independent language, the part which is only platform dependent is JVM. JVM is platform dependent. The machine on which we want to execute Java program must have JVM supporting that particular platform. So JVM allows Java portability to execute within a platform and hardware independent applications. We have seen that it is also called write once, run anywhere philosophy. It is JRE. So JRE is not only JVM, but JVM plus other base classes and library functions that enables Java bytecode to run on any platform. So bytecodes which are interpreted by JVM simply call classes found in JRE. When they need perform actions, they are not able to do themselves. So if JVM is not able to convert .class file instructions into the output, it will take the help of other classes, other libraries which are there available in Java runtime environment. Some actions like those detected to the underlying hardware or operating system are performed by JVM. So bytecode lacks functionality by themselves and need JVM to do many tasks for them. So JVM is a very powerful system software which not only just translates line by line Java code to the output, but also performs various tasks like getting the data from library and executing these instructions. So this perceived limitations to the actually is an advantage. So it allows Java program to be very small compared to other executable programs. And that's why it is called high performance or interpreted language. Second, more importantly, it allows them to be very portable. So all the problems that were there in C, C++ due to which these languages were not portable or not machine independent, that part is added into the JVM, and JVM will be installed on all the machines where you want to run Java program. But actual Java code is platform independent, and that's why it becomes very small compared to other executable code. Since each JVM is tailor-made means made for that particular specific platform, a Java program cannot run on it unless you should have installed proper JVM and it is installed on it. So the portability of Java programs are therefore fully depend on its presence of specific JVM. Communication between applications means a source code or program, and underlying platform, that is a hardware, which is very sophisticated, and that should be done with the JVM. JVM handles it well by providing a layer of abstraction between two. So as a Java programmer, I'm not worrying about how many registers are there, what is the size of memory, what is the size of address bus, how much, what it's the value that I can define in one variable. So as a programmer, I'm just thinking of, I have infinite memory available, I have infinite registers available, the CPU or processor is only there for me, and whatever I'm writing the instructions, they are getting executed by the CPU. But this is all imaginary, this is all virtual. That's why it is called Java Virtual Machine. Java Virtual Machine hide all the details about underlying hardware from the programmer. As a programmer, I'm not needed to know different architectures. Like for 886 or 386 programming, as a programmer, I should know what is the architecture of processor 386, 886, what is the instruction set, how many registers are there. Then only should able to write the code. But currently, as a high level language in C, C++ also, we are not bothered about hardware or architecture or operating system. We just write a code as per our logic. So as such, developer do not need to be aware of intricacies involved in each application platform pair. So application is user end or programmer's end, the software, and platform is the hardware underlying machine. So to fill this gap, there is a abstract layer which is called JVM. Next term is IDE, Integrated Development Environment. For working on Java programs, you can go with Eclipse or NetBeans, any IDE of your choice. So as the name says, it is integrated development environment. It has everything to write a code, to execute a code, to convert it into libraries, to import libraries, etc. So it's a software application which provides comprehensive facility to computer programmer for software development. Integrated development environments are designed to maximize programmers' productivity by providing tight-knit components with similar user interface. IDE present a single program in which all development is done. So you can type a code, you can save a code, you can open previously saved projects, you can change the projects, you can compile it, build it, you can link with the library files. If the library is not available, it should allow you to import or with ease to import a libraries and add it into your project, etc. So this program typically provides many features for authoring, modifying, compiling, deploying, and debugging software. So whatever we have seen, JVM, JRE, JDK, everything should be clubbed together in IDE. There are many integrated development environments available for IDE. Every Java developer need a programming editor where you can type a code, or IDE that can assist a grudgier parts to write a Java and using classes library framework. So which IDE should best suit you will depend upon various things. That is nature of the project. When you go in the company which platform they are using, you need to learn that one. Under development, your role in the organization, the process used by development team, what is your level and the skills as a programmer. So are you a front-end programmer or development team programmer? That will decide which IDE will suit you. Additional considerations where the team has standardized on tools and your personal preferences. If you stick with one, I want Eclipse only, and your team is working on NetBeans, so this will not work. You have to go with a team. So the three IDEs most often chosen for server-side Java development called IntelliJ, IDEA, Eclipse, and NetBeans. In our labs, we are using Eclipse, but you can also install NetBeans on your machine. That doesn't matter. Because we are not working on big projects, we are going to work very simple assignments in our FPL2 libraries, FPL2 laboratory. So there aren't the only choices. However, this review will include some lightweight IDs as well. Types of Java programs. There are three types of Java programs, as I told you. First one is application, applet, and third one is servlet. Servlet is not covered here, but just for your information. So mainly two types of programs. Application is a program that runs on our computer, underlying the operating system of that computer. It is more or less similar to that we are using. You're creating C programs or C++ programs like this. Application, which takes input from a user, perform some operation and produce some result. That is called application. Applets is an application which is designed to be transmitted over internet. So it is internet application, and we didn't need a compiler or an interpreter to execute applet. What we need is Java compatible web browser. So that web browser should be compatible with applet. Then web browser like Chrome or Mozilla Firefox we should able to interpret Java program and display it in the form of HTML code. An applet actually is a tiny Java program, small. It's like 2-3 lines of code, or macro program, dynamically downloaded across the network, just like an image. The difference between is it is an intelligent program, not just media file. So it is a dynamic, it gives dynamic status to your web page. It will change its data according to the whatever you provide to it. There are some static web pages, the data will always constant. Whenever you open that page, that will be this, you will get the same web page. But there are some dynamic web pages, like whenever you open Amazon site, every time you will get new offers. So that offers are getting changed every day, every hour. That is because of applets or servlets. So these are intelligent programs. It is not just media file. It can react to user input and dynamically change. Servlets are server-side Java programs. Java and Internet. Internet helped Java to bring to the forefront, and Java influenced Internet by simplifying web programming and inventing applets. So this is mutual. Java was initially designed as internet language. Then they understood that Java is not only internet language, it can be a general purpose platform independent language and can take a place of C or C++. Then more features were added into the Java. It was initially only constructing the applets. Then it is moved towards the application. So internet helped Java to bring it to the forefront, to make it a more powerful language, as well as due to Java, internet becomes so popular. Today everyone is using internet through mobiles, laptops, tablets, etc. It is in our hand just because of Java. So applets expanded the scope of internet. Java also addressed two other important issues of the internet, which is security and portability. So Java applet, an applet is special kind of a program that is transmitted over internet, automatically executed by Java compatible web browser. Applets are usually small programs, and these helped in moving some user interactive programs from server to client, hence improving the usability of web application. So a typical example of applet is tax calculator or some forms with input fields having lots of interaction between them, or any type of game. With your input, the actions or the characters will move. So your inputs are taken consideration, then calculations happen, and then that action character move. So that is interactive web application you can develop with the help of Java applets. Security and portability. Security, because since applets are automatically downloaded and run on client machine, there are restrictions on what it can do by its own. So applets have very restricted functionality. It is not like applications have infinite functionality. Whatever you can imagine, you can do with Java applications. But as applets are transmitted over internet and it is available to the client side, so there is some restrictions on what it can be done in applets. So they can use only subset of all functions supported by Java. For example, they cannot access local file system, or they cannot launch other programs on a client system. Java achieved this protection by restricting applet to Java execution environment and not allowing it to access to other parts of the computer. So it should not harm client's computer, and also client's software should not harm that Java applet. So this is taken care by Java execution environment. Portability. Java Internet is comprised of many types of computers and operating systems. It is important that for a program to run on all these type of systems. So either we have to have a separate program for each operating system, or write a portable or platform independent program like Java applet which runs everywhere. So instead of writing a code which is for a different operating system, different programs, it is always better to have a portable or platform independent code, only one program which can run on any type of machines. This portability is achieved by using bytecode in Java, that is .class file. Now after so much theory and so much discussion, let's start with our first Java program. So when you compile a code or a traditional program, for example, your C code, this is, assume that this is your C program, and you want to run your C program on Windows machine, Linux machine, say PowerPC or Spark machine. So you should have different compilers for those different machines. For example, Turbo C or GCC or CC or Borland C. So these are names of compilers for designed for different machines. So Pentium compiler, PowerPC compiler, Spark compiler, different compilers you need. Which compilers will translate your code only for that machine. So when compiler translates your code, that will execute only on Pentium machine. When PowerPC translates your code, it will work only on PowerPC machine. So if your program is ready to run it on different machines, you need different compilers. That is what traditional compiled programs or platform dependent programs. And how Java is different? So Java code, you should have only one Java compiler, that is Java C, on different machines. So this program will run on with the same compiler, Java compiler, either on Pentium machine, PowerPC or Spark PC, and it will produce the same bytecode. Bytecode produced is also same from all type of machines. But what you need is Java interpreter or JVM, specifically designed for Pentium machines, specifically designed for PowerPC, specifically designed for Spark. And it will run this bytecode and produce the output which is exactly same. So if you are working on Linux machine, just run these commands, locate JDK. It will check whether JDK is installed on your system or not. In case of Windows machine, you can use search to search JDK, and it will show you if JDK is installed on your machine or not. Then you have to find out Java C, where Java C is available on your machine or not. Java C is a Java compiler. If it is not there, you need to install JDK along with, if you install JDK, it automatically installs Java C. And we need these tools to run Java, that is JDK, which has Java compiler and Java interpreter. It's better to install any IDE of your choice. Either go for NetBeans or Eclipse. And to note that .java file, Java code that you are writing is platform independent code. You are not taking care of underlying hardware or machine. .class file, which Java compiler compiles your source program and generates .class file. This is also platform independent. It is common throughout the platform. Only platform dependent part in Java is Java virtual machine, and which makes your program portable. To run Java program, echo $path, it will display a path, current path, and you need to check whether Java compiler is available or installed on this path or not. Here I am using a Linux command gedit and hello.java. It will open an editor. Here I am not using Eclipse or NetBeans. I'm just typing a code in Notepad, like Notepad in Windows. Similarly, gedit is available in Linux machines. Type these lines: public class hello, public static void main, in bracket string arg, and opening and closing bracket. These are square brackets, closing curly square bracket, sorry, rounded bracket, and then system.out.println hello. You can just copy this code And if you have any editor available, for example, here I am using GDB. So this code is already available here. Note that class name is main, M-A-I-N, and my file name is main.java. Is it visible? Class name is main and my file name is main.java. This class is public class. We'll talk about what is public later. In C or C++, you can directly start with a main function, main, integer main or main and opening, closing curly brace, and you can just write printf hello world or something. But here main is enclosed in a class. Main is also part of a class. Main is not freely available. Even C++ is object-oriented language. There also main is not the part of any class. Here println is a method which is in system.out class. System.out.println hello. Here I'm just using this run command and it will produce the output. You can see output hello. But when you run this program on a terminal, you have to write these commands. To compile a hello.java program, command is javac hello.java. So go to the command prompt. Provided you have JDK installed on your machine, Linux machine or Windows machine, then you can run this command javac hello.java. And if there is a command ls means list, hello.star, it can show two files, hello.class and hello.java. Hello.java is your source program or Java file which you have written and saved as hello.java like this. And hello.class is automatically generated when you compile your Java program with this command javac hello.java. It creates hello.class file. This is called bytecode. And to run Java program, you need an interpreter which is Java. Java is interpreter, it is a Java virtual machine, it is a bytecode. So it will execute this bytecode hello. No need to mention dot class. It automatically takes class file and display the output. Here both these steps are happened simultaneously and you got the output. Internally it has called Java compiler and Java interpreter. So to note that string in main, here you can see string. String is inbuilt. You have done string operations in C language where you have considered string as character array. You have to define that variable, character array string 1, right? But here string is inbuilt. Built-in data type. Main is a method of the class. Main is a part of a class. All programs enclosed into the classes. Println is a method of function of system.out class. So we have Java code which is .java file. Then compiler will compile it into .class file which is called bytecode. And for different machines, for example Windows, Linux, Mac, you should have its own JVM, and this JVM will convert this byte code into your output, into the output. So first write a code in text editor, save it as .java file which is called source code. Then compile it with Java compiler javac, which produce bytecode which is called class file, and this class file you give as input to Java virtual machine or interpreter Java, and which will result into program execution, and you'll get the output. Now what you have to do is go to this online editor. On your Moodle page, you can see online editor. It is, yes, it is visible to you. Go to click on this online editor. JDB will open. Check whether the language selected is Java or not, and try to write some simple code. For example, if I want to define two variables, integer a, integer b, take some hard-coded values. Integer a is 20, a is 10, b is 20, and try to print result with a plus b. Note that syntax is similar. You have to give semicolon at the end, and to display result you have to use system.out.println. System.out.println. Here you want to display the result. Just write result. It will display the message result. And to display the value in C, use plus sign. Plus is used for concatenation, and small c. C is used to display. Now this C will hold the result, value of 10 plus 20, that is 30. So when you say 30, yes.
Means your plus will do the work of ampersand, like in C
Yes,
language, right?
yes. Here it work as a concatenation operator. It will concatenate this string, that is message, and actual value. Here no need to give %d, %f like we used to give in C or C++. Now just run here. So here you are getting result 30. You can check whether A is less than B. You can just use loops if you want to check if condition, if and while, if A less than B, then display A is less than B, or minimum is A or maximum is B, like this. Try to explore if, while, for, do while, then switch case. Small programs that you are writing in C language, try to work with Java and come up with the errors. I'll love to solve your errors in the next lecture. Just in next lecture, I'll explain you how to accept input from the user. Currently, just assign some hard-coded values and carry your work. Not necessary integer. You can try using float, character, boolean, all type of data types.
Ma'am,
Yes.
ma'am, actually, I tried one Java program,
Hmm.
and it's like a palindrome program
Hmm.
for in numbers, input as three numbers, and we have to reverse those numbers.
Hmm.
So in that case, when I use this concatenation, means this plus operator
Hmm.
in system.print, then what I did is I reversed the numbers and I tried that C plus B plus A.
Hmm.
But then it was saying that VM cannot convert the type into integer.
What you have done? Is it like this plus A plus B?
Yes, ma'am.
So when you do this, it will display value of A and value of B. It should display value of C, A and B. So note that 30 is value of C, 10 is value of A and 20 is value of B. But if you miss this, if you miss any one of this, it will consider it as an arithmetic operation C plus A plus B,
Okay, ma'am.
and it will give you such error.
Yes, ma'am. Yes. Thank you, ma'am.
Ma'am,
Yes.
are we only compulsory? It is compulsory to only use NetBeans or Ellipse only, or we can use other compilers like Visual Studio as well.
You can use.
Okay, ma'am.
It is not compulsory to only use Eclipse or NetBeans. If you are not, if laptop is not available with you, you can use online Java compilers like this.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. So password for today is Java. J is capital.